at 6 p.m. London time. I am in Miami right now, and beautiful weather, really hot. And We have our guest today that we were waiting for a long time. His name is David. We're going to see him in a minute. David will basically share his opinion about Web3, his vision about crypto in general, and he will also tell us what he does, what his company does, and we're just gonna basically talk and answer some questions from the audience. Can we, Lena? Let's invite David so everybody can see him. Perfect. Hi, David.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. I forgot to say that we have met David at the conference in Miami, correct? With Anne. I think Anne met you, and you guys. So when Anne was representing Grand Time and going to the conference in Miami, she has met David, and now he is on our live stream, and will be sharing his Web3 path, basically. So, David, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you get into Web3? What do you do right now? Just to, some little information about you so people will know.
Sure. So just like everyone in the millennial generation, I looked for a path to go to college and got into business admin. I thought that my life would end up in a Web 2 world before I discovered blockchain. But I started a company in 2016 where it would be kind of like virtual reality for interior designs clients, and I had already read a book called Ready Player One. So my idea for these assets that we were creating for these interior designers was that we would keep them for future sale on some marketplace that would develop in the future. And I had written this in my contract. Little did I know it would be coined NFTs, non fungible tokens. So later down the road, I started to get into NFTs and blockchain investing a little bit here and there. I've been through, this is my third bear market. And I went into tech, and then I was thinking, I was doing some consulting, and I was like, why don't I just go into Web3? And one of my mentors told me a long time ago, if you want to learn something, get paid to learn. Don't go to school for it. So I snagged a quick job with PARSIQ and IQ Protocol. I think that there's a lot of synergies with the way that I do business and have done business through commodity trading and things like that. And I'm very capable of creating relationships with business in a business network. So now I'm in Web3 full time, and I plan to never leave.
That's awesome. I love hearing that, especially when you said that if you want to learn something, get paid for learning, not pay someone to teach you. And this is really what I believe in as well. And this is one of the things that we do in our project. We have grand time schools in our project as well, and people learn basics about crypto. We don't teach anything really difficult, I would say. Some basic stuff for people that don't know anything about Web3. What is blockchain, how to create your first wallet, what is how to it, and stuff like that. And by learning, people also get paid. And this is something that I believe in as well, and I 100% agree with you on that, because if you are paying hundreds and thousands of dollars to the university that is teaching you, and being at the age of 18, 20 years old, most likely you don't know what you want to do in life. And a lot of times people waste a lot of money and just make themselves be in debt for a very long period of time. just to do something to work somewhere just to pay off that loan, student loan or whatever. Some people get lucky and their parents pay for them, but that's most of the time that's not the case. And yes, I totally agree with you. David, can you tell us your opinion about how big Web3 industry is and what its future maybe for the next 5 to 10 years? Just your personal opinion.
Sure. I go to a lot of these conventions. Obviously, I met Anna at one of them. Um, Right now, we're still very early, and I know this is such a cliche thing to hear. Everyone says it, but it's absolutely true. If you look at the trend of technologies, take the internet for example. A lot of people think that we're in the pre-Windows 1995 era, where computers were super hard to use. People couldn't figure out operating systems. There was nothing like uniform for people to use, and that's what we're experiencing right now. Is like, I want to get money onto Uniswap, but I only have a crypto.com account, and then I have to connect that with my bank. A bunch of complications that's a barrier of entry for the majority of the population of the planet, right? But as we continue to develop and grow, I think that these complications and these barriers of entry will start to get diminished. And I think that Web three is just the natural evolution of Web two. I think that right now we're very small, but with the exponential growth that a lot of these experts, a lot of these experts, I won't name any, but they think that by 2030 there's going to be around 5 billion users using cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies easily.
In the next 5 to 10 years, you think?
Yeah, I think within the next 5 to 8 years, I think that we're gonna see the majority of people using blockchain technologies. We're already starting to see the complications with, you know, cash and moving of funds. It's difficult, to send money across borders. There needs to be a bunch of money in these accounts that kind of just sit there, so that you can assure that there's not this, it's as close of a lossless transaction as possible. But if you've got near instant transactions that can happen, that's verifiable by the
Right.
block, you free up trillions and trillions of dollars in liquidity, and that money can go towards any number of projects and problems that humanity faces.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, money transfers around the world becomes more and more difficult with years. Even before Web3, I remember because I'm originally not from US. I came from overseas myself and my whole family, and there was a point of time when I still have like grandparents over there. And a big part of my family, and every time I wanted to send money overseas, it was a problem. This year you can send it through MoneyGram. The next year, MoneyGram is not working in that country. You have to find a way. There are certain fees, big fees, small fees. I mean, it's very hard now with crypto. The only thing you need is your wallet. Just copy the link and send me your wallet link, and I'll send you the instant transaction, very very cheap or free, and in minutes or seconds. And then yeah, this it does change the world already. And the question that I also wanted to ask you, David, what do you think? What would you tell people that always ask? Let's say now we're in a bear market, and as an example, we'll take the price of Bitcoin. Because everybody knows about Bitcoin. We've been at times when Bitcoin would hit 60,000, and we've been in times when it was like now it's 20,000 or less. And bear market happens all the time. Not just in crypto, but in economy in general. And every time we see the prices of big tokens or coins going really low, like right now, let's say people are thinking that this is it. This is the end. It's never gonna go up, and people don't buy. Or believe in certain cryptos when they really need to buy them, in order to make money, but they start buying when it's at the top. And this is something that you know. Some people, I would say the less amount of people, if we take the in general, are understanding that and buying the cheap when the prices are very low, but they're afraid when they're high. So how would you explain it to the person that just got into Web3 and everybody around him is talking about that? Okay, well, this is it. Like, don't like, keep your money, don't waste your money, don't buy anything right now. It will go up later, or it will not go up at all. Like, what is your answer to this situation on market right now? How do you basically explain that once we're in the bear market, this is the actual time when we need to invest and we need to spend our money on certain coins?
Well, like following the trends, during the .com bust, a lot of companies suffered 80% losses, and then those are the Amazons of today. So you're with innovation, you're always going to have um, the previous the previous people and companies trying to halt the innovation because it hurts their bottom line. So obviously there's going to be FUD. Like it's funny because there's a certain individual who said, Bitcoin is a scam, and then the next day when Bitcoin, dips, goes and becomes the largest purchaser of Bitcoin for that entire month. So the
Yeah.
the innovation is here, and I would suggest just invest what you can and don't go all in, and obviously
Right.
take your profits and things like that. But if you believe in the decentralized nature, if you believe in the revolution of finance and technology, absolutely pick your projects that are building good technology. Try to stay away from a bunch of hype and FUD, and really do your research. But I would say to the people that are just getting in now, absolutely pick your favorite projects based off of fundamentals, and stay away from hype.
Yeah. And talking about hype, when I went to Bitcoin conference recently, a couple of months ago, in I think it was in Miami as well, right? When I went there, there were like hundreds or thousands of people there. Most of the people that I noticed were younger, probably 18 to 20 years old, new in crypto. And what I did not like is that all the influencers or famous, like, billionaires that were speakers on that conference were only talking about Bitcoin, and we're saying that this is the only thing that you need to buy, and this is the only thing that will live for a very long time. And I'm listening to this, like, I have Bitcoin, I love Bitcoin, and I think it's got a great future, but at the same time, I don't think that this is the only thing that we need to look at. What is your vision on that? Are you like a fan of top dogs, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever, the top coins that we see, or you believe that there are other projects that are live now, but people just simply don't know about them because those influencers on YouTube and different conferences only talk about those bigger guys. So basically, marketing. There's a lot more marketing money that goes into bigger coins like that. So what do you think? Are you um, would you say that we only need to invest or think about bigger coins, or there are other ones as well?
The bigger projects are great, right? Like the top 25, there are some coins in there that are strictly hype community coins, which have their place in the society, in this Web3 revolution. And then there are also coins in there that have fundamentals. And then there are also some coins that probably shouldn't be in there. I like Bitcoin, but it's not like Bitcoin is not the only technology that's going to revolutionize the world. That's kind of like saying, this blender is the only thing that can make, smoothies.
Exactly.
Therefore, we should only ever buy this blender. to drink. This is the only drink we're ever going to drink. So I absolutely
Right.
think that there are coins out there that have these amazing technologies like PARSIQ with this lightning fast blockchain data API, real time and historical data that just works at the infrastructure level so that developers don't have to build a solution so they can focus on their core product. It saves months of development, right? And lots of costs. And then there's IQ Protocol
Right.
that does NFT renting, right? And that's also an infrastructure layer level so that you, instead of just buy, sell, and trade, you also have the rental market. There are tons
Right.
of other great that obviously I'm partial to the ones that I work with, IQ Protocol and Parsec, but I mean
Obviously, yeah.
there are a lot of other ones that I really enjoy as well that have great fundamentals and technology.
Since you started talking about parsing and renting and stuff, can you tell us a little more about NFT renting and NFT and metaverse in general and its future? Just your vision and how you guys are helping this industry as well. That would be very interesting to hear.
Yeah, so actually, IQ Protocol was built out of Parsec trying to figure out the tokenomics for a SaaS model. They wanted to create like a subscription-based model to their service, and they did a fungible token renting version where you could rent the tokens to pay for the access to the monitoring wizard. And then they're like, wait, we can do this for NFTs as well. And then that's also something I'd like to point out really quickly is that that was built during a bear market. So where we're at right now is probably where the best technologies are going to come from, is from all the trial and error that's happened over the last bear markets and what we're going into now. So IQ Protocol, let's get back to the point. IQ Protocol for NFT renting, I believe that renting is going to be bigger than buying, selling, and trading combined. Because if you have the best asset, you don't want to do any of those three, but you do want return on your investment, or you do want to be able to earn some sort of yield on your investment, much like if you own real estate, you want to be able to rent it out so that you can help pay for it, the mortgage or the debt for it, or even to put some extra cash in your pocket. This is huge for Bitcoin, or sorry, this is huge for blockchain gaming because a lot of games have a barrier of entry where people can't get in to play because they can't afford that initial $20,
Right.
$40, $400 to be able to play the game. We have models where you could rent to play, where you get the asset for free, and then as you're earning, those earnings go towards the difference of that rental fee, and then you start earning your income after you've paid that rental fee. So it opens up this play to earn mechanic for a larger portion of the world who wouldn't be able to normally afford to play these games and earn income. Oh, and
This
where
is amazing, and I
it's
really
going,
like. Yeah,
where I
go ahead.
think where I think it's going, I think that blockchain gaming, I think that blockchain gaming in the metaverse is not only going to stop at blockchain gaming, but blockchain gaming is going to be a huge driver of this metaverse where people are going to work and learn in a virtual reality, a simulated environment. I think that where it's going ultimately, I think that a lot of people will be going to school and working from home and being able to do that within a virtual reality environment or even from your screen. A lot of people don't understand that we've been using keyboards and mice and screens like monitors for decades. It's analog technology. It's like the rotary telephone. Like we don't dial by turning our telephone anymore, right? But we still use this, archaic system to interact with devices. So I think soon there's going to be a pretty cool innovation where we can interact with our devices without this analog, without the need to use your hands, and perhaps
Right.
even speech or whatever it could be. So I think that would be integrated into this simulated environment, whether it's virtual reality, XR, or AR.
And the live stream, or hopefully our next live stream is going to be in metaverse. We're gonna see a bunch of people around us sitting and asking questions live. This is awesome. I can't wait until this all happens finally. Hopefully very soon. And I am really I really like, and I want to thank you guys for doing what you're doing, because giving an opportunity for people that simply don't have certain finances to do something and to earn more, and you're providing that, because I believe that there are so many great minds that we just don't know about because they're stuck in the previous era, and they don't have the access. The people are living from check to check, from rent to rent, and they simply, it's hard to believe, but there are a lot of people that cannot afford to pay $20-$40 to enter a game, but this game is able to change their life, and you guys are making that bridge to give them this opportunity. I think this is amazing, and there is a big future from what I hear from you in your project, and I am going to go a little more deep, and learn about you guys a little more after the live stream, and we'll be in contact with you on that as well. And this is something that we kind of do as well in a different way. We already brought 28,000 users into Web3 industry that didn't know anything about crypto, like nothing. People that come into our project, they start learning from basics. They don't hold any crypto. They never bought anything. They never traded. They didn't even know what blockchain is. And this is our goal, to bring more and more users into Web3. And we don't really, I mean, obviously any project focuses on money, but I think in your case and in our case it's kind of similar. Yes, we do focus on money, but mostly in order to be able to have our IT teams, in order to be able to provide that product to people that will be using crypto and will be growing the community and improving the industry. So yes, absolutely. I really like what I hear. Thank you so much. Uh,
Yeah,
and you
not
also
a
you
problem.
yeah.
It's a great chance to be able to speak with you, and I love doing these kinds of interviews where I'm able to talk to people, being able to get into the space, and it's awesome that you guys are actually able to get nearly 30,000 people into this space. Thank you for that. I think I lost you, Olga. Did we lose? Did we lose him?
Sounds like it, yes. I
Okay.
see that the picture is frozen, and so
Well,
should
I
we
mean,
maybe move on to the questions?
sure. Go ahead. I can start answering questions.
All right. So the first one we have is on at sorry, 1 second.
Hello. Sorry, something happened with my connection here. I apologize, but can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. The picture is going to be weird. I don't mind looking stupid here. That's okay.
You look very happy.
But yes, and I am. So, David, I think we should answer a couple of questions from the from the audience. And if you don't mind, we're just gonna announce one or two questions, and you will have your answer to it. So Olga will announce the first one if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
One we got is from at Oksana Pipenko, and it says, I got acquainted with your project. However, I would like to know what is its uniqueness and what innovative ideas underlie it.
So, the uniqueness of IQ Protocol is that whenever you want to rent your NFT, you don't lose the custody of it. A lot of our competitors will have a custody of your NFT while it's being rented out. So the NFT actually stays in your wallet, and then a smart contract mints wrapped expirable versions of that NFT with the same utility if the project that you're renting with accepts those versions. So that's the uniqueness of it. It's riskless. You keep ownership of your NFT.
All right. Thank you for that answer. So the next question we have is from at Bora under Nicolja81, and it states, who do you think can benefit from blockchain education in the future?
Okay, so I can take his question in two ways, like blockchain education, as in learning about the blockchain. I think that a lot of developers that are in Web 2 can move into the space fairly easily. But if we're talking about education that's on the blockchain, and utilizing blockchain technology and also in the VR space, I think that people that live remotely, that don't have access to perhaps a school that's nearby, that might need some sort of institutionalized education, like where there's a teacher, and then there's also other resources like counseling and things like that. So I think that a lot of communities that are remote, and also a lot of communities that don't have access to, let's say, good teaching resources, where they might be able to access teaching resources from a 3D environment, where there's a teacher teaching something, where they're able to show them. Let's take like medicine, for example. If you want to learn about the human anatomy, you might be able to have like a 3D model representing a human body, and then really get an in-depth view of it. Like, it's almost practice, right? So instead of looking at a book and a 2D image, you're able to kind of see that image in 3D. So I think that the possibilities are unlimited.
Beautiful answer. And then the last question that we're going to announce today states, well, first of all, she's complimenting us. She says, very interesting broadcast. And then it says, David, summing up, what would you recommend to all the participants of our project, such as what can we develop, what can we pay attention to, any advice?
Yeah, absolutely. Pay attention to the companies that are building blockchain infrastructure. They're essentially building Web3. They're building the blockchain. I would suggest really looking into data providers, infrastructure providers, dev tool providers, people that are actually giving the picks and the shovels for there's a famous story in the States, is that there was a gold rush a long time ago, and everyone tried to move out west to go and mine gold. But the only people who made money were the people that were selling the picks and shovels. So really find and narrow down those companies and those projects that are selling the picks and shovels to build the blockchain. I think that that's a very successful move.
Thank you, David. I totally agree on that. And again, here's my happy face, always smiling. I think we're we're going to finish up on this last question. Thank you very much for joining today's live and answering all the questions, my questions and questions of the participants. And again, I want to say I really like your vision and what your, the project does, and how you guys are, your role in blockchain in general. And I think you guys have got a great future. And I will be one of the people that will be always looking at the project and being a part of it as well. So thank you. And I don't want to see myself on this screen anymore, especially like this. So I think we'll be finishing up today. All right.
It was a pleasure, and I'm glad to come back anytime.
Thank you. They will definitely schedule one more live with you soon, I think. So we'll be in contact.
Okay. Bye, everybody,
All
and
right.
thanks for joining in.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Ciao.